If your appetite feels out of control, you have intense cravings, especially in the evening, and you struggle to lose weight even when you watch what you eat, you might have a problem with leptin. This hormone signals satiety, or the feeling of being comfortably full. But when leptin signaling becomes dysfunctional, it can cause overeating, fatigue, joint inflammation, and insulin resistance. If this sounds familiar, keep watching, because in this video, I'm outlining 5 functional medicine strategies you can use to calm cravings and lose fat by improving your sensitivity to leptin. Leptin is one of nature's appetite suppressants. When it's functioning properly, it tells your brain to stop eating when you've had enough. It's the put down your fork hormone that helps regulate energy storage and expenditure, and it's made by your fat cells. Unlike ghrelin, which is made and released by the stomach in response to food intake, leptin is secreted at night, like melatonin. It works over the long term by moving through the bloodstream to the brain, specifically the hypothalamus and hippocampus, telling it to decrease hunger signals and increase energy utilization, which is fantastic if you're trying to lose fat. But more leptin isn't necessarily better. In fact, when your brain is bombarded with leptin signals from your fat cells, over time it becomes desensitized to the satiety signal. The receptors for leptin in the brain become numb or less responsive to the increased leptin levels, which means you don't feel full even when you are. It's like you have a broken hunger thermostat, where even though the temperature is turned all the way down, the furnace keeps kicking out heat. In this case, it can cause intense cravings, especially for carbs and sugars, addictive eating patterns, and increased fat gain or trouble maintaining a healthy body composition. This is called leptin resistance, and it is a vicious cycle that many people find themselves trapped in. Because not only does leptin resistance trigger cravings and hunger signals, it also changes your metabolism, so you burn less stored energy for fuel. This means the food you eat is more likely to be stored as fat, which then releases more leptin, which increases leptin resistance and leads to more hunger and cravings. By contrast, when you have appropriate levels of leptin and your receptors are getting the signal in your brain, leptin keeps your food consumption balanced with your energy needs. People with PCOS often have leptin resistance, as do people who still never feel full even when in ketosis. A few years ago, I worked with a patient who was told by a health coach that in order to overcome her weight loss resistance and lose body fat, she simply needed to listen to her body's signals and eat when she felt hungry and stop when she felt full. I'm sure you can imagine how frustrating and confusing that advice is when you have leptin resistance. It's important to note that insulin resistance, which is another instance of poor receptivity to a regulatory hormone, often begins the process of becoming leptin resistant by causing higher body fat percentages, chronic inflammation, and initiating that downward spiral of cravings and weight gain. Elevated triglycerides, another hallmark of insulin resistance, can also interfere with leptin's ability to signal to the brain, which disrupts appropriate satiety or fullness. And leptin doesn't only regulate hunger, it also modulates your immune system, which is in charge of chronic inflammation. Leptin problems can accelerate the breakdown of cartilage and joint tissue, and it is correlated with rheumatoid and osteoarthritis. And healthy leptin hormone signaling is also important for bone and reproductive health. How do you know for sure if you have leptin resistance? Well, you can measure fasting leptin in your blood, which will give you an idea of your levels. Normal levels may vary depending on age, gender, and other factors, and they do increase over the course of the day. Remember, leptin is like melatonin and follows a circadian rhythm in this way. So you'll want to test this level in the morning before you've had anything to eat. My optimal fasting range is less than 15 nanograms per deciliter, but some functional docs like to see it less than 8, much lower than the 20 or 30 you might see on a standard blood lab. If you're curious about your leptin levels, you may be able to order your own blood test via my website. I'll put a link to more information in the video description for you to check out. Another way to test for leptin resistance is to check markers like fasting insulin, hemoglobin A1C, and triglycerides. These markers can give you a sense of how well your body is managing your blood sugars, which play a big role in triggering leptin resistance. So now that we understand how leptin works and how to test it, let's talk about functional medicine strategies you can use to improve your leptin sensitivity, decrease cravings, boost your metabolism, and lose fat. Remember that leptin is secreted in a pulsatile pattern like melatonin at night? This means that maintaining a healthy circadian rhythm and getting enough quality sleep are super important for supporting healthy leptin levels and sensitivity of leptin receptors. Research shows a strong link between weight gain, lack of sleep, and insulin resistance, which can all lead to leptin resistance. If you're getting less than 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you're setting yourself up for leptin problems. In one study, women who got 6 hours of sleep per night were 12% more likely to gain at least 30 pounds in 16 years, compared to the women who slept 7 hours per night. And women who got only 5 hours per night were 28% more likely to gain at least 30 pounds during that same period. What are some things that can interfere with healthy sleep? Caffeine, alcohol, and sugar can all throw off your circadian rhythm. Evening exposure to blue light from your phone, computer, or TV screen can also disrupt your sleep cycle. Consider a mug of chamomile tea instead of that glass of wine to unwind in the evening, and pick up a pair of stylish blue light blocking glasses for your nightly episode, or better yet, read a book before bed. If you practice great sleep hygiene and still struggle to fall asleep or stay asleep, it may be time to take a deeper look at hormones like cortisol, estrogen, progesterone, or melatonin. Cortisol and chronic stress can also lead to leptin resistance. So, learning how to create stress resilience is key to curbing cravings and promoting fat loss. I have many videos in my channel library about the HPA axis and healthy stress management, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but just know those resources are available for you. Not only does stress cause cravings by affecting leptin, it also lowers your mental energy and planning ability, making it more difficult to make healthy, goal-oriented decisions around food. It can also lead us to use food as comfort, meaning that we gravitate towards endorphin-releasing foods that are mostly low quality and have poor nutrient density. Not getting enough quality sleep can lead to this same kind of dietary indiscretion, which in itself can cause fat gain. If you're looking for a comprehensive guide to understanding cortisol and implementing meaningful resilience-building strategies, check out my Stress Smarter mini workshop. I'll put a link to more info about this tutorial in the video description for you. Given the link between insulin resistance and leptin resistance, it's probably no surprise that eating too much sugar can also cause cravings and leptin dysfunction. But some studies suggest that this is also true for fructose, a type of sugar found in fruit. When you overeat fructose, it raises your leptin excessively. Does this mean you should avoid eating fruit? Absolutely not. But it is smart to be careful about overconsumption, which depends on many individual factors, including your genetics, how much you exercise, what else you're eating or overeating, and the function of your metabolism. It's important to note that there's a difference in how your body responds to fructose from a can of soda versus a handful of blueberries, which has tons of healthy fiber and micronutrients. So if you're struggling with leptin resistance, my suggestion is to keep your fructose consumption to less than 20 grams per day and avoid liquid sugar sources like fruit juice, soda, sports drinks, and sweetened coffee drinks. It may also be helpful to limit high glycemic fruits like pineapple and other tropical fruits, as well as dried fruits, and focus instead on low glycemic fruits like dark berries, apples, and pomegranates. Exercise, especially high-intensity interval training, is a non-dietary strategy for curbing cravings and losing fat. Studies show that for some women, exercise helps lower leptin levels, which, in the case of leptin resistance, is a good thing. Maintaining healthy muscle mass, especially after 40, is a great way to drive metabolic function as well. And as an added bonus, exercise helps women maintain healthy testosterone levels, which in turn also help keep metabolism healthy. And moving your body every day is a great way to improve sleep, which improves leptin levels too. I found that many women love to take walks, but don't focus enough on building and maintaining muscle, which means they miss out on this leptin improving strategy. If you've dialed in your food choices, you've incorporated healthy exercise, and you're still battling cravings or never feel full, there are some nutraceuticals that can be helpful as well. Berberine, a natural compound found in plants, is sometimes called nature's Ozempic for its ability to improve insulin resistance, balance blood sugar, and help folks lose fat. According to a 2012 meta-analysis of 14 different studies, including more than 1,000 people, berberine was able to help with blood sugar control as much as the common diabetes medication metformin, and with far fewer side effects. Because leptin resistance is so closely linked with insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome, berberine helps calm cravings and improve metabolism too. Speaking of Ozempic, boosting your body's natural production of glucagon-like peptide 1, or GLP-1, can also have a profound impact on satiety. When you eat, the GLP-1 hormone sends a signal to your pancreas that causes the release of insulin, which tells your cells to take in glucose from your blood, helping to lower your blood sugar. GLP-1 hormone can also help lower appetite and food cravings by activating similar areas of your brain as leptin. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that you need to take GLP-1 agonist drugs to get the benefits of this hormone, but you may need to enhance its production, especially if you've been metabolically dysfunctional for a while, you have too much body fat, or you have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. My favorite way to support your own body's GLP-1 production is with a very special microbe called Akkermansia muciniphila. Akkermansia not only produces butyrate, which boosts GLP-1, but it also helps balance blood sugar, which improves insulin sensitivity. And best of all, it maintains the tight junctions between your intestinal cells, reversing intestinal hyperpermeability, sometimes called leaky gut, which is a trigger for everything from depression to eczema to multiple sclerosis. If you're curious about berberine or Akkermansia, and you'd like more details about dosing or which products actually work and meet third-party testing standards, check out my Functional Fat Loss Trio checklist. You can sign up for your copy of the InfoPacked PDF at the link in the video description. You'll also find a link to purchase my preferred nutraceuticals for a really nice discount, so be sure to check that out. You may also want to have a peek at my video library. I cover both berberine and Akkermansia more in depth in other videos. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It helps support the work I do and spreads the word about functional medicine to those who need it. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.